Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Grow Your Faith with Michael Chess. I'm the host, and then I have Pat Milligan. He's our co-host on here, and we have a special edition today. We have the whole team there today, the Milligan men, with us today. We're doing a Happy Father's Day kind of special this weekend. How you guys doing?
Great.
Awesome.
Super.
Man, I was talking to him just before it, and I still see the little boys that were at camp, So it's kind of weird. I've been stalking you guys on Facebook, just to see, I got some good memories of you, but let's talk. Why don't you guys go ahead? Because there's a lot of people from Hoosier Hills that watch this, where you guys lived for a while. But why don't you guys introduce yourself real quick, just because they're going to be like, well, which one's which? Because they remember you guys when you were so much younger,
Yes.
probably.
Yeah, so I am Jonathan. I'm the oldest, and so the camp, I was the one that picked on the other two younger ones. And then I'll introduce you to the ladies' man, Joel, who was the ladies' man at camp, even though he was 8 years old.
That's right. I was the one running around to all the lady counselors, giving them gifts from the snack shop, hoping that they would one day be my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then this is Jason, the one who was always running from the Wampus Cat. So there you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard one of my favorite stories with Jason. I don't even know if he will remember this or not. He had done some kind of craft, some kind of paper thing. Did you guys remember we had that crow deacon? Do you guys remember the pet crow deacon that flew all over the place?
Yes. Right. Yep.
Well, that crow grabbed Jason's paperwork and flew down down at the end of the hill. And I heard Jason chasing after that thing, and that bird just was ripping that paper to shreds,
That's funny.
And then it flew off, with it. And Jason, I remember watching Jason chase that crow, just he was taking it to mom or something. And then Joel, I remember Joel was always, he was kind of mine and Pat's shadow a lot of time. Wherever me and Pat were, you kind of had Joel, because Joel was like, I think you were afraid you were going to miss something good, so you were always there. And then Jonathan was the athlete, hanging out with, I didn't hang out much with Jonathan because I wasn't athletic.
Yeah, I was always up for a basketball game.
Yes. I was the skit guy. That was,
I feel like I remember you, Mike, doing the skit with the baby and the bottle, but for some reason I remember you doing some skit. I could be wrong. Something about brushing teeth and spitting it back into a jar and then drinking it at the end. Do you guys remember that? I don't know why. I remember it being the grossest thing ever, but
no, it was called Panchos Dios.
Yes,
Panchos Dios, and we would throw up and eat it. We had crackers.
Well, Joel runs a camp, his youth, so maybe you can give him some ideas for this year's summer counselor skit.
Me and another youth pastor actually put that on a video, made a video of that skit. We used real horses, everything in it, and at the end you see us walking off, and we started off with these big horses, and at the end you see us walking off with 2 miniature horses. It was hilarious. So it's on my YouTube site, but I get a lot of people from camp will get that and
Oh my goodness.
want to watch that. But yes, and then I was a good Jerry Lewis. I always like skit.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Yeah. If I needed to win, I just threw on the Jerry Lewis outfit and I knew I had it in the bag, you know? But anyway, it was such great memories there at camp. I was just going to ask you guys real quick, what were some of your fondest memories while at camp?
I'll start. I think for me, it had a lot, it was fun doing the competition and living at a campground and always every week having new friends, new people to meet, new potential girls to become your girlfriend.
Yep.
Although that came back to bite us for all campers week when they all came back at the same week. So there's that story. But I would say just some sweet memories of the tabernacle and the singing and the preaching and seeing like lives changed and being around that every single week was just awesome to see what God can do when you pull people out of their environment and you put them in a place where God can just work in their heart. That was neat to see even as a young kid.
Yeah, I was saying this is probably for Jason as well. We were younger, so we weren't really even of the age to be campers that I can remember, but we just following Dad around, following you around, and just seeing the inner workings of what goes on during camp. A lot of things, we got to see a lot of behind the scenes and just seeing, Dad minister to kids and teenagers and helping them through situations and encouraging youth pastors that were there and mentoring counselors. But I do always remember at the end of each service, if I remember correctly, all the counselors would go up front and like the last song we would sing before everyone would go to their cabin was God is so good. And the counselors would do like the sign language to it. Yes. I remember that happening. And even at a young age, that was a great truth for me to be singing and applying to my life, that God is so good through every circumstance. And I'll always remember that, singing that as the last thing before you go to the cabins. And then I'll throw in one more thing. I'll always remember before we jumped into the pool, we would have to quote a verse. And I remember everyone surrounding the pool and they would say, what is our verse for today? And it was 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether therefore you eat or drink or whatsoever you do all to the glory of God. And then everyone would jump in the pool. So
yeah,
those are good memories.
Yeah, he memorized that just so he could go swimming.
Yeah. Say it so I could jump in the pool.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I was younger, so I just remember playing all the time.
Yes.
Like whether it was fishing in the pond or whatever, So that's pretty much mine. I just remember running all over the place.
Riding bikes everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Carrying up a snake to the dining hall from Miss Doyle or something like that,
Or doing the mudslide.
Yes, I remember that.
We used to love the mudslide.
Oh, that was the best, man. Except the cleanup afterwards.
Yeah. That's for sure.
But I think the mudslide was
closed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say there's no
poor Pam Reisinger had to do that. Yeah. Sister Pam.
Yep.
Yeah. She was like, I'm not doing that laundry. But Pat, how about you? It had to be a treat having your family. I mean, it was a family thing because you went to work every day and your family could come participate in it if they wanted to or not. It was just, but it was definitely like a family thing for you guys.
The greatest thing, it was a family thing. Everyone was glad to be there and took part in everything there. I remember the time when I took all three of these guys to camp before I became camp counselor. We stayed up in a trailer up there, and JC was not more than 2 years old, and 4 and 7, and they were all there at the camp with me during the time I brought my young people there. So they just loved being there, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was definitely it was fun to watch. Your family was fun, you know. I tell your dad all the time. I loved when your mom would come up to visit, because I found it my life mission to try and make her laugh, you know, which wasn't hard.
No.
You know. But she had a contagious laugh, you know, and we loved it when your mom came to visit over there, because she just brought the weather with her, you know. She just made you feel good, special, and all that. And you know, both your parents, I think back on that time, all the lives your family has changed over the year. Kids that, you know, that are now not. I'm 56 years old now. I was 15 years old when I started working at camp, and I had graduated high school the year me and Pat started working together when I was assistant youth director from there, you know. But I learned so much stuff that as a youth pastor, you know, I just learned off of a lot of what you, Pat, had done at camp, the crazy things we used to do. Do you remember we did something one year? It was a big old food fight, and we put it in a ring, and we did and it started off with Kool-Aid, and then it went with like flour, then we did egg fight, then it was ketchup and mustard bottles. I did that as a youth pastor, and no joke, we went and tilled the land and made this ring out of it, and we had a teen revival, and we did this outside in this cornfield right off the main road, and I put big old floodlights on, and we were doing this was something I had learned from Pat that we did at camp. By the end of the night, there was cars parked all down the road and stopped to watch this, and actually stayed for the message, because we did a message right there, you know. And the next thing I know, we get up the next day, and there's a big thing in the newspaper of this event that we did, you know. And it was just really great, because that was something that Pat had come up with to do, and I loved it, because we always had it was never the same thing. It wasn't like you came to camp and we're going to just do the same thing. That was a sports camp, so we had sports, you know, which I hated, because I was all of 3 feet tall, and they always felt bad, so they would put Donnie and Bobby Ferguson. Remember the Fergusons? So their dad was a professional basketball player. I forget who he played for. But anyways, they got all the athletic people, and then I got all the bedwetters, you know.
So
bedwetting, I should have got a ribbon for that, or a trophy for that every week, you know. Counselor with the most bedwetters. So you always saw my mattresses outside. But anyways, so talking about your guys' life, like I said, I've been stalking you, Jason. I haven't been able to get much on you, on what you're doing, but what are you up to these days?
I work for the city of Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Aviation Authority. So I've been working there almost 20 years at the airport.
Oh.
So just on the airfield operations. So that's pretty much it.
Gotcha.
He can fix or build just about anything.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Well, if you ever come to Pensacola, visit me, because
I do like working with my hands. So
that is for sure.
That's what I like to do.
That's great. Yeah, you were just so little when we were at camp. I didn't get to know you as much. We had a nickname for you. I don't know if you knew this.
I don't remember too much about camp, so no.
Okay, so we called you Little Gaddafi. And the reason was because you would find these frogs and things like, and you would torture the fire out of them. It would be nothing for you to come up. You see the girls go running because you have like a garden snake or something in your hand, you know.
That's funny.
You were always looking for something. But anyways, Joel, how about you? How about you, Joe? What are?
Yes, I've been in ministry this is my 20th year. I've been specifically in student ministry. I was at a church in Alabama for about 12 years, working with my father-in-law, and then moved back to Jacksonville. And now I'm the student pastor at Trinity Baptist Church there in Jacksonville, and kind of oversee kids ministry and nursery as well. So they've given me a really cool title, Next Gen Pastor. So there you go. So I get to oversee diapers to diplomas is basically what I do.
Oh, that's awesome. How much of stuff that you've learned while being on your dad's ministry have you been using?
Oh, there's so many things that I've got, of course, he gave me most of his library of books, and he gave me these books that were called soap books, and they're actually from way back when in a place called the Wilds in North Carolina. But he's given me so many resources and books and things that I've learned. I've actually had him come and be a part of a number of events that we've done, because if you know anything about my dad, he's very good at like organizing and details. So I'll just have him come be my details person and run events or tournaments or things that we do. So definitely I've learned a lot.
Yeah, I remember I had a book. What was it called? Help, Pat. You put together a binder, and I used that my whole career as a youth pastor. I used that and everything, and I had it up until we just had Hurricane Sally come through, and we had a tree go through our roof. And I actually had that all the way up till then. And we had, after the move, I can't find it. And I'm aggravated because I just like, at this point, I love the sentimental value of it because, you know, your dad is someone very special to me. He was my mentor and things like that. So, well, great. That is great. Yes. I've been listening actually to some of your pastor's messages stuff. You got a great preacher over there. Pastor over there. So
yeah, definitely.
That's great. And Jonathan, how about you?
Yeah, so after college, I started as a high school teacher and a basketball coach. And after a couple years, I decided I wanted to do something more in the speaking, writing, something in that area, but I didn't know if traditional ministry was the route. So I ended up starting a blog and started writing, and then started a podcast, and then things just kept evolving. Wrote a book and started to teach other people how to take a message and get it out there on today's media. So wrote a book called Your Message Matters, and probably the joy that I have is working alongside of people who have a message to share, and they're just trying to figure out, how do I get this out there to more people with all of the digital media that we have today. And what's been cool about that is it wasn't inherently started out as like, I'm just going to work with Christians. I was just trying to help anybody with a message. But along the way, God has brought pastors and missionaries, people who are trying to figure out, outside of Sunday morning, how do I take this message into today's culture where they're already hanging out? And that's been a lot of fun to do the last few years. So I get to do that now full time.
Well, that's awesome. And I am actually one of the people who's starting to join what you're doing. I actually today at 1:30 I have a phone call with a guy named Corey that works with you, and I'll be talking to him. And I ordered your book. Well, I think I ordered your book. My wife is going to double check it because I mess things up sometimes. Because I was like, I thought that was supposed to be here by now. And so I think I did it wrong, which is typical for me. but I started I wrote a book, and this year, it came out in January, and then I started I have a couple podcasts going on. Me and your dad do one called Growing Your Faith, and I love doing it with him because your dad is such a great teacher, but he's also so great at relationships. That's the one thing that I loved about your dad, and I think that's something that I carried on with me because we had some of the same temperament, me and Pat, and that was something that I enjoyed. My favorite times at camp were at nighttime when everybody went to bed, and me and your dad would sit usually on the A-frame porch there, and we would talk. There's a lot of times Joel hung out with us there too when Susie would let him, because sometimes it would be late nights,
I remember.
But those were some of my favorite moments with it. So I'm kind of using that, but then I have some other things with my intentional guy, kind of going off my book and stuff like that. And I'm really finding a lot of your information very helpful to me. So I really appreciate that. What you're doing and stuff like that. Cause I talked to just messaging with Corey, all of a sudden I've got all these ideas, all this stuff, and it's just kind of taking off with it. So I appreciate it, but I'm following you. I might have to pick your ear, your brain, not your ear. I don't want to pick your ear, but pick your brain a little bit and get some more ideas. But I'm excited about the call today that I'm going to have with him and pushing this ministry forward that we're doing here and everything. So
Awesome.
And Pat, how about you? Why don't you tell everybody what you're doing these days?
I'm retired. I'm living the dream.
Living the dream.
Yes, he does this awesome podcast called Grow Your Faith.
Yes, he does. He does. And we just started. I look forward to that every week, though, guys. Because I get to spend about an hour with your dad, and I just love your dad. I love you, Pat. Pat is he's an awesome dad. He's an awesome dad, and this is a Father's Day tribute that we're doing to all the fathers out there, and what a great way to do this. But I want to ask you guys, if you would, for a minute, just share a little bit about your dad to us and some of your thoughts and appreciations over the years with him and how maybe that's helped you. I know Joel and Jonathan are fathers. Jason, are you a father?
I am. I have a 16-year-old son named Kyle.
Awesome.
Wife Aaron, so I have one son.
Awesome. So if you guys wouldn't mind just taking a few minutes, just talk about that for us.
Yeah, sure. I'll start. And so, Dad was and still is, but especially like growing up, was always the person who was there for us. He was always around, especially being involved in sports. He coached every single team. We joke about looking back at the yearbook at our school because like you flip through the yearbook and you see here's the varsity basketball team. There's Coach Milligan. Here's JV basketball. Oh, there's Coach Milligan in the picture. Oh, wait, here's
junior high soccer,
yeah.
Coach Milligan. There's
elementary badminton, Coach Milligan. It was all on every page of the yearbook. So when you get a yearbook, it's like, where's Waldo? You circle where you find him. So he was always super, super involved with sports. And what was great about, my mom being a teacher, dad being a youth pastor and coach, is that they were always with us. Summers they had off with us. This was after, of course, the camp. But and then seeing that he always had an intention to spread Jesus and his message. He loved sports, but it was always something more. And whether it was at camp, whether it was running elementary basketball league, whether it was running basketball in general during the basketball season. There was always a devotion. There was always a bigger picture than just sports. And he always came back around to that. So those are some of the memories I have.
Yeah, I think for me, and I'm just reminded of, the principle we read about in God's word about being faithful in the little things. I think a lot of times, especially being in positions as like a camp director, and a lot of people see you on stage doing the big things when the lights are on. One thing I've learned and seen my dad display over the years is that he was also faithful in the little things. And the person that you saw on stage on a Friday night food fight is the same person that we saw Saturday morning in our house. And he was always willing to, whether it was leading a group of 200 kids in a giant game or it was scrubbing the toilets in the pool house, he was willing to do whatever God had called him to do. So that taught me, seeing that's taught me a lot about ministry, that sometimes God just calls you to do the little things, the things that no one ever sees, but that God sees them. And that's one of the main things, one important thing that I think Dad's taught me over the years, just to be faithful in the little things and trust God with the big things.
Yeah, I know with me, being younger, I remember riding with him in an old yellow truck, standing right next to him. We'd stop at the store to get some baseball cards or some candy. And he's the same way with the grandkids now. I mean, he's the rock of the family. So he's always wanting to take the grandkids and, do stuff with them and just be there for them. So he's definitely, his faithfulness is huge.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he's always been a relationship person,
Yeah.
I mean, he had one of the things with Pat when you talked with Pat at camp, or even outside of it, he's focused 100% on that conversation with you, and not distracted with all the other stuff. Your father actually led me to the Lord, and it was at camp. And I was an assistant director, and we walked to the side, and I remember nothing else mattered at that moment in time. Even though he had to run a camp, we had all this stuff going on at the moment. At that moment in time, I was the most important thing there. And he was like, "No, we're going to get this settled now. Everything else, it will be fine. We're going to deal with this." So I love that about your dad. He's one of the most authentic person I think I've ever met, because, like you said, at camp, I got to share in the moments with him when he was in front of people, but then behind the scenes. And I mean, for a long time, I didn't even know if your dad could ever get angry at anything. I mean, it takes a lot to push his buttons. What?
Referees of basketball games.
Because when it came to sports, man, that is when you saw the competition side come out of him. Yes, I do remember. I remember those. I remember Brother Dole walking down, rubbing his head and stuff like that. Man, we gotta beat these youngsters. So, but I know you guys are on vacation, and I don't really want to take up all your time from your family. But I really appreciate you guys spending just a little bit with us. And, Pat, I don't know if what you'd like to say here, but before we close, I want to say Happy Father's Day to you and to your sons. Enjoy this weekend with your family and everything. Thank you for doing this today. But Pat, you got any words you want to share today? Talk about your sons, anything you want to?
Sure. I just wanted to say I thank the Lord for each one of my sons. I mean, they're all three special. They're all three different. We're so thankful for them. As we see them grow up, and as a teenager, and then find out what God wants them to do. They're all faithful in church. They're all faithful in little things. I can think of Jason talking. Him and his wife. What do they do? A kid's in the nursery, 4 years old.
1 to 2.
1 to 2 years old. He's in there teaching them. You know what I'm saying? Every Sunday, that's what he and his wife loves to do. You know, and just watch them grow up. And I watch them grow up with their sons. We got each one has a son, and two of them have two daughters. But we have 5 grandkids. But they're all just so special, and just see how they do their family. It's amazing. I mean, I just amazes me. And each one of their wives, if we brought them in here, each wife is for each one of the boys. Aaron couldn't be John's, because they're all very special, you know. In that they help on them, but just watch them grow up as a family. And this is the time we enjoy right now. There's 13 of us. We have one daughter that just left yesterday to go to
Dominican
Republic on a
wow
visa trip, and it's an internship, but it is because she's going to graduate from Liberty next year. Because she had to have this trip, so she's over there. But she called us last night. She wants, you know, she wants to be both places. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But just to see how they grow up and how they respond to their parents and all that, it's amazing. And we want to thank God for that. It's the Lord. I mean, my wife and I both said that the Lord's been good to us.
Yeah. Well, and that's because you guys have been faithful, you know, to God, and always you live what you walk. You walked what you said, you know, and that's been an example. And it's funny to this day. I don't know if you hear it there, but Pat could probably go to Indianapolis and you're going to hear someone go, Brother Pat, you know, and I always know when someone says Brother Mike, okay, I know that's someone from camp. Where they at, you know, and everything. So, but guys, it's been a pure joy to have you on here today, to just see you guys as grown men and see, you know, your life. It's a testament to you guys, but it's really a great testament to your parents. You know, Pat and Susie, they've just, you know, you guys got the bombs for parents, you know, and it's just great to see that. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be ecstatic to see and watch this here. I don't know if you guys heard Miss Doyle passed away this past week. And so just there's a lot of memories out there. And one of the things, though, I'm trying to push towards some of the people that we're seeing at camp is those are memories, but what are the memories you're making now? Let's not get stuck in the past, but let's take what we've learned and let's grow. And that's why I love doing Growing Your Faith. So let's take the stuff that's happened in life, the things we've learned, and let's just push forward and keep making a difference. You know, and it's your dad lived this for me. It's my ministry is my life. It's not the church I work at. It's not all this other stuff. It's my family and my life. That's my first ministry.
Yeah.
And anyways, so Pat, thank you. Happy Father's Day to all of you. And you guys go enjoy the rest of your time with your family, okay? And if you get a chance, go to YouTube and search Panchos Diaz on my website. You'll love it. You'll love it. I haven't done Babysitter and the Worm yet, or Joe Cool. You know how hard it is to get 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds together to want to do a skit?
I know, right?
They're no fun. I tried to get my wife to do Babysitter and the Worm with me. She's like, what?
I remember it.
Anyway. So, but great memories, guys. Thank you so much. And enjoy your weekend. Happy Father's Day. And happy Father's Days to all our viewers out there that are watching this. We would just want to wish you that. And until next time, just keep being intentional, guys. Guys, thank you again. Have a great weekend.
Good to see you.